potential legislation that may pits private rights against property rights. For instance, in the Senate Bill 45, the rights of the individual or the potential employee versus the rights of the business owner to know what kind of person he or she is hiring. How would you guide us in dealing with these types? Because there are many of those coming.
You know, these are tricky situations, I think, and I can't really give you a bright line rule. What I will say is that sometimes it is helpful to bring these questions into sort of an offline environment. So I view social networking sites as equivalent to someone's life. You know, it's their digital life versus their personal life. And I can't imagine most people would be comfortable with a home visit by their employer. You know, where I say, oh, well, to know, because I mean, there's always more that you want to know about someone. The question is, how invasive is it appropriate to make that kind of information collection? So I don't think we want an employer in our home, and I don't think we want an employer on our social networking page. For that, and I think that's, but by the same token, there's clearly other areas where the ACLU is going to come down on the side of the private actor. And I'll just give you an example of this. In the case of a drone, we think there are significant First Amendment issues around private drone use. There are, of course, freedom of the press issues. There are issues where private commerce is actually going to override the Fourth Amendment, or I shouldn't say they really aren't Fourth Amendment because they're not the government, but you're going to see places where a First Amendment right to use that information as you deem as a private citizen or as a business is going to trump. So there really isn't a bright line rule, but what there is a realization that technology shouldn't change the way we live our lives. It's a tool. It shouldn't be governing things. Just because I can do something doesn't mean it's right, or it doesn't mean we should allow it to happen.
And with something like Facebook in particular, which when we talk about social media, that's really what we're talking about most of the time is Facebook. I mean, I think most people in here know you can set some stuff to be publicly viewable, and then, all bets are off. Anybody can take a look at that type of stuff. And people learn that unfortunate lesson on a daily basis. And then there's stuff that you knowingly and willingly keep private for a select amount of people that you wish to contact. So, Chris got it exactly right. It's demanding a password to get into information on Facebook that people would rather keep private and are trying to keep private is really no different than going into your house, looking through your emails, your letters, the books that you read, the political party that you're part of, the rallies that you attend. Facebook reveals all of that about us and more. And so I think the burden would be on the employer to explain, why do you need that level of information to know about me as an employee? But you're absolutely right. There are no easy answers for all of this. Sometimes this stuff can be used for good things, but also many times they're used in ways that invade and compromise our privacy.
There is an easy answer. You can just call Gary. Okay. Just if you have a question.